pod was destroyed and you died. Lucky for you that you have been reincarnated through an insurance claim. Warp drive active. Clumsy pilot. The capacitor is empty. Clumsy pilot. Docking request accepted. Connecting. Our escape pod was destroyed and you died. Lucky for you that you have been reincarnated through an insurance claim. Warp drive active. Clumsy pilot. empty. You clumsy pilot. Docking request accepted. Connecting. Our escape pod was destroyed and you died. Lucky for you that you have been reincarnated through an insurance globe. Warp drive active. You clumsy pilot. The capacitor is empty.
Hello and welcome to the chill stream for Anger Game 6. We are coming to you from the sunny F1 tax system. I guess there are tornadoes here, not quite that sunny, but I am being blinded by the sun nonetheless. We have some very good matchups for you this day, and we are starting with the Ancients versus Rusty Hyenas as our first match. With me is Ali Aras and
Kevin Grumman.
Kevin Grumman.
Absolutely. And starting us out right now, the Ancients have banned the Leshak, Gila, and Curse, and Rusty Hyenas have banned the Balgorn, Loki, and Orthrus.
This looks to be a fairly standard set of bans. We have, Gila is a very popular ban, Curse is a very popular ban, Orthrus is a very popular ban. It had a very good record on day one. Balgorn and Leshak are both great core ships for your armor control. So mostly just looks like a lot of generically powerful ships banned on both sides.
Absolutely. We got some serious no good. Certain groups don't want to be controlled at all here. Here with Rusty Hyenas banning out two different long web platforms.
I think the Hyenas don't want to be chased at all. Too long range and the Orthrus. Hello and welcome to the arena. We have Rusty Hyenas versus the Ancients, and the Rusty Hyenas have opted to take an Armageddon and Navy based triple rapid heavy missile launcher comp. They have three extremely expensive battleships, relatively speaking, and the barest minimum of low end. Ali, what have the Ancients taken?
The Ancients have taken a pretty classic rush. We've got broadsword, 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 double Sleipnir, all warped in right at 0. So these guys are going to race in. The broadswords are going to try to catch something with their long scrams, and they're going to try to all dogpile on as fast as they can. It'll be interesting to see if they can make it over to some of the key ships on the other side. Get on top of uh, the Magus, get on top of one of the battleships and start chunking it down, or if uh, the or if Rusty Hyenas is going to be able to string them out.
What would you
And
say is the biggest defining factor of the double Sleipnir triple broadsword comp that we are seeing on grid now?
basically, can you get all your people on top of a target and all applying damage as fast as possible? If Rusty Hyenas is able to tackle them separately, then the game will be over. But so far, the Sleipnirs and broadswords are streaming in. Some damage coming in on the malediction. Not a big deal there.
Malediction,
Broadswords.
no problem at all for sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Malediction and the Magus are immediately trying to tackle down some DPS while the rapid heavy battleships run away and are targeting Paragoda and the Broadsword, who goes down immediately. There is no Largy on the Ancients team, so they really just have to kill stuff before they themselves die.
and it looks
Yeah,
like
it
the
looks like they're switching up onto the Armageddon Navy issue, who that is not going down very quickly at all for a shield tank. His shield tank is very thin on the Armageddon Navy, but it's not going down fast as the
It's
broadsword
definitely
does.
armor tanked in this case. They have two
yeah.
Navitas, but it's going down slower. Like they're about to lose the second broadsword and Freya Gray here, and that's taken at least a third of the DPS of the field.
Yeah, and Scorpeak, the broadsword is was separated from their team and is just now heading back. I think the ancients split themselves up a little bit. They're putting damage in on this Armageddon Navy issue, but I don't know if they're going to have enough to break it.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
a good triangle formation between the three battleships on the Hyenas team. They just want to make it so that they have to burn to get to more. They still have the Malediction and the Magus alive. Both of those have tackle mods, and they aren't losing their logistics. Like PLA don't have the Ancients don't have time to kill the logistics. They just have to power through. as the first rapid reload launch was done, killing 2 ships, they have now reloaded and are killing Skopeek and the broadsword pretty quickly.
Yep. And Toha and the Armageddon Navy just holding there in armor. I think he's probably going to catch now that that broadsword's down. They're on Karanthor and the Sleipnir. Karanthor taking a damage. The Sleipnir does have a pretty good local rep bonus, so we should see some good ASB charges from him, but might not make it in time to get this Armageddon Navy down.
I don't even know if he'll live through the clip here, or as he drops very quickly.
Yeah, he boosted too late.
Yep,
all
too late
things
on the
considered.
boosts. And it looks like the Armageddon Navy will probably catch here with a single Slep doing DPS left on the grid. There's very little chance for her TA to pull this back.
Yeah,
Especially with both those Navis still on grid providing reps to the Armageddon Navy. It's holding.
Yeah, the Typhoon of Nesat is actually being held there by the Raptor and taking damage. So the 180 DPS of a 2-gun Raptor isn't even helping out, assuming he has guns. Well, he is doing some damage. He must have a gun. He's just burning off. Is he going for the Edge of Glory? No, he's coming back in.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Maybe
seems
a
like a little-
quicker switch onto the Navitas could have been able to pull it back a little bit. I don't know how hard they'd be able to apply down onto those Navis, though.
Yeah, it could be. I think also just getting everybody on the same page on top of that Armageddon Navy instead of right at the beginning, you saw that split where one of the broadswords went one way, the others went the other way. In a rush comp like this, you really need to just hard commit all in on something, get everyone on top of it at once. If you don't, not much you can do.
We have seen some good lodulus comps throughout the years of tournaments in EVE, but they generally don't tend to be short range rushes. Like, if you can project with everything in your comp and kill stuff at range, it's so much better if you're taking no logi. Like, they don't have any DPS left, basically. Like, the Hyenas have won this for sure, and Silas is going for the Edge of Glory.
Yep. We had one Edge of Glory already. Kiasate, how far out is that wreck? Looks like it's just at the edge. No real.
Yeah, I thought the
records here.
Vigil ran over to the tournament jump unit. I thought they would get it, but
Yeah,
Looks like they're bouncing between jump units right now. I don't know what exactly he's going for today.
like maybe they were trying to get a better angle. Let's see if they get another one. Are they going to activate? They're going past.
I think I see the. No, that's the target painters. Never mind.
Yep, no jump
Yeah,
effect.
didn't
I think he was trying to
activate
get
it.
a running start, but it did not manage to activate it on the correct tick.
I mean, that's kind of like you can use it ahead of getting there as long as the game knows that you're going to get there soon.
Yeah, and you just got a regular 125 kilometer boundary. So that's all of the Ancients' ships exploded. Couple.
We've seen some mixed results this tournament for triple rapid heavy ships. Like they have won a couple, but they definitely have not won all of their matches. And for triple Abaddon type comps, it's been even worse. Do you feel like there's some desperation in taking such an extreme comp?
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, if they thought that if they had a good read on the rush comp, the triple rapid heavy makes a certain amount of sense. A rush comp matchup is very much going to be a DPS race, and the amount of damage that your triple rapid heavy battleships puts out is just absolutely incredible. We saw that those 2 broadswords fall very, very quickly, and that was a lot of damage off the field.
Indeed, especially that front loading of all the DPS allows you to take down key enemy fleet members that'll really decrease their effectiveness. The reload time, if you can bring down 2 broadswords, is kind of advantageous almost.
Yeah, I think that like you could bring an Osprey instead of a broadsword, and if you were to do so, it is also at much of a risk at dying. But if it's starting at max range and you're expecting something like that, then I don't think that your optimal setup to go up against if you take an all damage comp is rapid heavies with selectable damage types. Like the selectable damage types makes a huge difference, because if for whatever reason they were up against like laser battleships or something like that, they are taking so much less damage on that resist profile.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And the rapid heavies, it, as you say, it is a little bit of a gamble, but we've seen pretty good results from it in the past. Going down to only the T1 Logi, I think, is a pretty good choice in that scenario. You're not spending too many points on your logistics, which makes sense because you're kind of opting into a DPS trade. So if you can get even just a moderate amount of reps out of your Logi, or just a couple of seconds of your opponent's firing at something else while you're firing on one of their key ships, that makes a certain amount of sense.
Logi in many instances works as a great meat shield for the ships that are actually killing the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. And I fly a lot of Logi in the tournaments myself, and when I'm flying in those ships, it's kind of just feels like you're sort of a fancy Logi drone. You're there, you're going to show up, you'll be there for 30 seconds, and if you make it to the 1 minute mark, great job. In that case, the Navitas survived the whole time, probably because um, the Ancients team was trying to get that DPS trade off quickly.
Yep, and every second that the Logi stays on grid, they're contributing a ton of tank to the composition, and which the Ancients just didn't have with zero Logi on grid. They don't have much sustaining power. They just bleed out ships very, very quickly.
Those are some of the more extreme comps that we have onto the damage side of things. Like the opposite of control, if you will. Like that combined attack bar probably as high as you're going to see in any match this weekend.
For sure, I can see why they banned the Leshak in particular. The Leshak is a very tanky ship, and they didn't want to have to grind through a big old health bar with no Logi backing them up. Even though they have that incredible amount of DPS output, they can't stay on grid for long enough to kill those big tanky ships. But unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to ban off that big tanky Armageddon Navy issue, which allowed them to the Rusty Hyenas to stay on grid, especially since they kept those Navitas up and had that little bit of extra EHP every second they were on grid.
It's arguably like slightly better against Rush, but like you can't ban it out in any case, because you could always just bring the Typhoon fleet instead of it, and you'd be just as happy doing so, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of big tanky metal hull battleships that you can bring. You could have brought the Abaddon. You could have brought a lot of stuff.
I think in the case that you bring out anything else, like if you want to ban out that, you're just going up against worse stuff anyway. Like you're ending up like rushing into like a Leshak control comp, or into trying to catch people webbing you with a rapier and killing you with Orthruses and Jackdaws or whatever, if you just like don't want to face rapid heavy.
Yep. So speaking of bans, let's take a quick sneak preview at the bans for this next match. We've got Trash Tier Tryhards versus Only Need 3 comps. Trash Tier Tryhards banned out the Gila, Curse, and Sentinel, while Only Need 3 comps banned out the Hyena, Loki, and Orthrus. Dujek, what do you think of these bans?
I think that the Gila Curse is one of those blanket, like we don't want to we're not planning on bringing it, and we just don't want to face it either. The Sentinel adds to the curse in that they have something probably turret based that they don't want too disrupted. whereas the only need 3 comps ban in Hyena, Loki, Orthrus is very close to what we saw earlier. They want to presumably kite or at least have range control and not get webbed down or caught by Orthruses.
Yeah, so maybe the summary here is Trash Tier Tryhards wants complete freedom to use their turret ships and only need 3 comps, wants complete freedom to use their micro warp drive to run around, whether
Yeah.
that's running on top of the team or running away from the team.
Indeed, and especially with the Gila ban, it's been a very common ban to get rid of those high DPS drones that can project very far, but they got the significant weakness that those drones need to move around to be able to get on top of targets, especially faster targets like Scepters can even avoid the damage altogether. And as we go down to the arena,
Welcome to the arena. We've got Trash Tier Tryhards versus only need 3 comps here. Only need 3 comps is shown up with a Drekavac, Vedmak, Omen, Abaddon, Shimu, Retri, and an Augur for logistics. So pretty flexible armor comp.
Yeah, it's very mid-range with one big powerful thing, whereas Trash Tier Tryhards are trying to jam them out. They have 2 Scorpions and a Pontifex for links and low damage. Like they've got 2 Ishkars, a Nurgle, and whatever missiles they bring on the Scorpions, which is going to be hard to break anything on the opposing side, I think.
Yeah, I think Trash Tier Tryhard. I think the Trash Tier Tryhards comp is really looking to just effectively grind the other team down. So those Scorpions are going to jam out the Augur. They're going to be preventing anyone from actually being able to be effective. And the hope is that their small amount of DPS will just peck through. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, let's hope they brought a lot of them. I think they probably have at least 2 on each Scorpion, but they've got to kill the Vedmak and the Omen as things that they can actually realistically kill here.
yep, and we see that blue has immediately started burning straight in for him.
Yeah, let's see if these Scorpions have local MJDs. If not, they might get caught. Of course, jams are great, but if you jam something, it can still target you.
Indeed,
The
it
2
looks like they're
Scorpions pretty
immediately
close
going up
together.
onto that Guardian as well.
Yeah, he just took some long range damage. The Abaddon and the Drekavac and Vedmak do shoot far enough, but if they like actually get onto him, like this Drekavac is now, he's going to just die.
Absolutely. It looks like it is a very tackled Guardian. It's dipping quickly. Hey, on the other side, the Omen is getting hit hard, but not as quick as the Guardian is going down.
Yeah, the Guardian can't have that many things actually tackling it. The Drekavac of Damascus has got to be a major jam priority for these 2 Scorpions right now. If not and the Retribution of Exertamini as well. If the Scorpions can free the Guardian might survive, but as it is, you've only
The
got so many
Guardian is
charges in
double
your
webbed by
AAR.
an Ashamu as well. Like, there's no way he's getting up to speed. Like, if he turns on his micro warp drive, he's just gonna bloom and die. He is gonna die regardless.
Yep.
There's no getting out of this.
Yep, the Guardian goes down with nothing in return for it being traded for it. The Omen is still alive here.
Yeah, now only need 3 comps can just get onto Ikkyo and the Scorpion and kill him. There's nothing stopping him.
Yep,
He can't even jam them off himself, so like Archimede is not capable of jamming the entire team for the entire match.
Indeed,
And
and
these
even
2
if they could,
Scorpions just vibing.
Yeah, they're too close as well. I feel like those Scorpions ought to be 50 kilometers in either direction, basically.
Yeah, it might be a no prop, all jams in the mids. But AKO and the Scorpion going into low hole now. Vedmak fully spooled on him, and Ikeo goes down. Predator in the Omens still hanging on there.
Everyone always underestimates T1 Logi's ability to output reps, but the Omen is still holding. Hey, it's still alive. They still haven't traded a single thing on this grid for a Scorpion and a Guardian. Now it looks like the Omen might be about to go down, though.
I don't even necessarily think they're underestimating their ability to rep, just their ability to stay alive.
Indeed, they do not have that excellent T2 resist profile that T2 Logi gets. They don't have the tank, and they don't have the tiny sig radius as the Scorpion goes down.
So that's all the battleships on the Trash Tier Tryhards side, and Zero Cool and the Nurgle tackled. Soon we'll see that Nurgle go down shortly. Meanwhile, it's not looking like Trash Tier is getting much done against only need 3 comps here. Don't think we're going to see any more ships lost for them.
Yeah, they can get some good Edge of Glory tries, maybe.
Maybe, but it looks like they're all tackled.
Yep, that Ashen was probably long webbing a lot of stuff. Nothing's getting away here. Ishkars have good DPS output for a frigate, but that's for a frigate, and there's Logi on this grid.
Robert Mason and the Pontifex is going down now, and only Tomlin remains.
Yep. So, what could Trash Tier Tryhards have done differently there? Move the Scorpions further apart, maybe?
Yeah, and tackle enough with their low end.
Yeah, that low end need to be up front, trying to keep those bigger cruisers away from their Scorpions, especially away from the Guardian, to keep it alive for the longer in that fight. That Guardian dropping very quickly, there was very little that could be done without Logi, especially that Logi that they spent so much points on keeping alive.
Yeah, that's tough. And the fact that the one team was all Ammar, so that means that your Scorpions are going to be potentially reduced effectiveness. Off racial jams can still sometimes hit, but it's not as easy as if you've got a good mix.
Yeah, that was it for me on this stream today. I have to go do my own bans and play my own games in a second.
Yeah, awesome.
thanks
It was
for having
excellent
me.
having you.
Yep, me as well. I've got a rep Dujek. I'll catch you all tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That means it's
absolutely.
going to be my show for a little while. Well, but for now,
Enjoy yourself.
we can look forward to the next matchup that we're looking at. It's Seriously Suspicious versus Gunsnarm powered by AI. And on Seriously Suspicious, our bans are looking like Paladin, Vargur, Curse, and Scimitar versus Gunsnarm is banning out the Sleipnir, Curse, Oniros, and Orthrus. Up on Seriously Suspicious, we have 2 different Marauder bands coming out to. They do not want to be fighting against much in the way of Marauder spam. And I got a new friend with me. New, what do you think of the next match's bans?
No idea. I just haven't even looked at the bands yet. I also just smoked a joint because it's 420. So.
Well, we got Seriously Suspicious banning out the Paladin, Vargur, Curse, and Scimitar versus Gunsnar banning out Sleipnir, Curse, Oniros, and Orthrus.
Okay. I bet you there's going to be some ECM on this one then, because you basically both teams have banned the Curse, so neither of them want to see a heavy control comp. Seriously Suspicious definitely doesn't want to see either of the Paladin or the Vargur in play. And then, of course, we got a Northrist ban. So, there's not really a whole lot. I bet you it's either going to be a lot of ECM or a lot of drones coming up next.
Yep, for sure. There's no Gila ban, there's no Alligator ban, and those prime drone ships have not been banned off at all. We might be seeing one of them, though, with the Scimitar coming in, banned from Seriously Suspicious. That heavy T2 shield logi has been banned off. They might need to bring T1 or a Bazzi or something else if they want to do Gila heavy comp, but that we might also see other things as well. Absolutely, and with the Oneros band, they don't want to be facing off against that heavier armor compositions. The Guardian is a strong T2 heavy metal logi, but as we saw in the last match, if it gets caught, it goes down very quickly.
Yeah, the thing about the Guardian is that it's not really as useful as an Oneros. And having that Oneros ban, it really does limit your ability when it comes to like armor logi. I'll be right back though, because my kettle is actually screaming at me from across the room. I'm just making some coffee.
Absolutely. What do you think about it, Jintan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the key difference between the Aneros and the Guardian is the fact that you can dual prop an Aneros and you can't dual prop a Guardian. So you have to either commit to having an MWD Guardian, which is a horrific thing to fly because you have infinite cap issues, or you fly an AB Guardian and you have to almost entirely rely on like a heavy battleship to protect your core.
Indeed.
I will say that we do have a lot of the heavy battleship kind of options still left here, so it would be very possible for Goonsnarm to do something like a Leshak Guardian core, potentially using the Sentinel, which has been one of the consistent bans throughout this tournament so far, which has been left on the table by both teams.
We're that more bottom end control composition is still available, which can open up that top end for those big ships like you were mentioning, the Leshak. We might be able to see another Abaddon comp. The Abaddon comps have not been performing all that great.
I mean, the other thing you can get is either a Rodieva or a Zarmzad if you're really crazy.
Absolutely, Zarm is a great ship.
Looking at these bans, though, something that I've noticed that has fallen completely off of the radar is the Kizreal and Alligator and Healer bans that we were seeing so much of in the previous kind of couple of days. Do you think both teams are kind of positioning each other to bring a healer comp here, maybe?
It's very possible. The Florida Man is 100% on the table for these two teams.
Yeah,
Florida
exactly.
Man. I love how we're calling it the
Yes.
Gator comp Florida Man.
Well, why would we call it anything else, really?
This is true.
It's much better than Octodad.
I want to see a Tiger King comp. I know that's an old meme, but it checks out.
For sure, and with that Paladin ban from Seriously Suspicious, they don't want to be facing that double Paladin or Paladin Redeemer comp that we've seen in the past do fairly well in the tournament so far with the high-end DPS capable ships.
I mean, the Paladin's also great because it's got 4 utility high slots, so you've got the other option of all those heavy newts that you can put in the high. It's just, I mean, Paladins are stupidly overpowered in this sort of 7v7 setup that we got here.
Absolutely, you can pack a ton of utility and you can pack a ton of DPS on the same platform. There's a reason they cost as many points as they do. What do you think about the Vargur ban in conjunction with the Paladin?
That just screams that like we have like some heavy target we don't want you to sit on and just pound DPS into. So from my perspective, that's probably a Leshak or a Widow. You know, they're putting in a lot of points into the let's not get whatever our primary carry is rushed down.
They could also have a Redeemer too.
I don't know. I don't like the Redeemer that much. I know that's a bit sacrilegious.
I mean,
But
yeah,
I think the Redeemer just hasn't performed well in this tournament. That newt power bonus just isn't as effective as either having 4 newts like the Paladin does, or 3 newts and a smart bomb or something to that effect. And without
this
the
is true.
range bonus of the Paladin, it's just rough. It just doesn't have the reach.
Having said that, you could also go Armageddon Navy issue as well. That's another option if you want to fill the slot of the Paladin, because it projects, it's tanky as balls, and it's got that newt power on it as well.
Indeed, they could still bring that if they're afraid of newts and they have not banned it off. But if they're just afraid of that, like Genton was saying, with the high DPS that can just sit on top of something and deliver tons of damage down onto it, especially damage that has struggles of applying to smaller ships like the Paladin does, then it can really gimp a comp if that's what they're still trying to go for. But they might just go for alligators instead.
Yeah, there's the good thing about this tournament really is that there are a lot of very viable compositions. The changes to the points have really enabled that. You have good kite comps, you have good control comps, you have good rush comps. There's such a wide range of kind of different ways people are attacking the meta, which is fantastic.
Oh, here we go. Mm-hmm.
And we'll go down to the arena here and see that we're going up against Cyclone Fleet Issue Loki's and Burst Jackdaw versus Gator Gila. Oh man, and one group has landed right on 0.
Yeah, it looks like I was completely wrong with my predictions. Neither team really taking advantage of the whole that's presented by the lack of bans focused towards heavy battleships. Instead, both of these teams bringing. Actually, I can't tell. Yeah, that is a rush comp, isn't it? Oh my god. So yeah, so that's rush. Looks like Red were trying to bait. Sorry, Seriously Suspicious were trying to bait Goonsnarm into that. Didn't fall for it. Got to pay it. Got to pay credit to Goonsnarm there. And this is a comp that Goonsnarm have a lot of experience with. They fly this type of composition all the time. It's been their like historical, most preferred way to attack the meta. If there's a way for Goonsnarm to get out of the groups, this is it.
Absolutely, we're seeing T1 Logi for the red team, which is going to reduce their sustaining power. But they do have those extremely fast and high DPS Cyclone Fleets and Lokis, and those Lokis got long webs that can hopefully let them get on top of the enemy composition.
Yeah, so it's worth noting that this is a tiebreaker match. Both of these teams here are playing for their tournament survival. Applecini just needs to win. However, Goons need to win, and they need to score more than 60. Sorry, they need to score 64 points more than Apple within the first 7 minutes. That is the kind of margins that we're playing with here as the match starts off.
Absolutely, and we'll see whether they burn in and see how that rushdown works.
Yeah. I think that rushdown's going to go get onto that Lord Jackson in the Maelstrom very easily, but the question is how quickly does he go down, and more importantly, is his XLASB going to be able to hold? We're really wondering about the breakpoints on a comp like this from Seriously Suspicious. You can see how big that attack bar is, but it's a question of how much can they actually apply as they push in.
Indeed, in blue, it looks like they're going after the burst for now, which is holding all right, but the alligator is not.
Oh
As
my
it dips.
lord!
Wow, this alligator is just melting.
Absolutely, and the burst is still alive. Remarkably, they've traded one Logi for the gator.
Goonswarm just
What an
lost a ton of damage right there, despite only, and now they're starting to chunk away on that second burst, but now Goons are really losing that Maelstrom very quickly.
Yep, and the burst with 0 support goes down extremely fast, but so does the Maelstrom right now.
God, that is some incredibly potent DTS. That might be one of the highest DPS, effective DPS rushes we've seen so far in the tournament. It's just burning through that 100k EHP plus of the Maelstrom in seconds there. Trading a Jackdaw for it, but what do they care? All they've got now is they've got 2 webs. They're going to easily track down these fat healers that are just, waltzing away, trying to run. They're not going to get very far.
Yep, and these Cyclone Fleet issues have a lot of tank to chew through. These healers do not, though. They are much squishier, and if this is a straight DPS race, and I think Red can pull it out if they can get on top again.
I mean, Quan's sitting way too far away from his Logi. He's not going to be living for much longer now that he's under Loki webs here. This is, yeah, we can see him. They're starting to take damage. I'm giving it 10 seconds till he dies. What about you guys?
I think that might be generous here as we see the DPS start to apply. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 7
Oh,
seconds only.
jeez,
Oh,
I was a
unfortunate.
little
We've
off on
already.
that.
Yeah, there is no way that these two Lokis don't catch down this healer now. This is the power of the Lokis if you let them get into the late game. They have 30, 40 kilometer webs, and that just means that your rush can always get on top of what it needs to get on top of. Quite frankly, the extra zhuzh that Gunsnam brought in that jackdaw and the Kirans just did nothing in this match. That you needed more tackle than this to really prevent the rush, and their sacrifice for the Maelstrom, trying to bring as much top end DPS as they could, just didn't pay off.
No, it makes me wonder if that Maelstrom was able to get that ASB fired up at all. It looked like he wasn't even repping. He just went down like an absolute sack of potatoes.
Yeah, we'll have to ask if they can put it in local for us to take a look at. One of the downsides of being a commentator is we don't get to see the kill mails of these ships. I often wish we could. Oh, apparently all of the red teams were pure buffer. No active tank modules at all.
Yep, and as that last healer goes down, they have a single jackdaw worth of DPS left, and I don't think that's going to break a single thing. That might not even break the passive regen on the Loki here.
Unfortunately, that does mean that Gudasnam are now eliminated from the tournament. I don't think there's any way for them to get back into their group. And Seriously Suspicious, however, are going through. We will see them in games later today.
Yeah, it's definitely all over but the crying here for Goonsnarm, who, I mean, it looked good at the beginning there, but the fact that Seriously Suspicious was like right at 0, and they were dialed in from the start. They had like just the perfect counter comp for Goonsnarm's comp there, like right at the start, and they were able to just absolutely first take off the alligator and then right away smack down the Maelstrom, and it was kind of all over but the crying at that point.
Absolutely, these Kirans did not work out well for Goonsnarm. They did not contribute the reps that they needed to against this extremely high DPS composition. That it just did not. Nothing lived long enough for reps to hold anything up.
Yeah, this is the kind of matchup that makes you wish you had an extra large shield extender instead of an extra large shield booster available. Just the lack of EHP was what really got the Goonsnarm here. Still, what do you think about? Do you think that if you're running some of these alligator comps, you need to ban the Loki, Kevin? Is that something you think that's kind of a requirement from everything we've seen so far?
I don't know. I think it might be at this point. The Lokis can contribute that large amount of DPS and webs and be tanky all at the same time, which makes them extremely good against these Gator comps that are relying heavily on having that tank to hold out, having the enough range that the drones can get in and do that DPS. So it might become a requirement, especially after this excellent performance.
I mean, I would tend to agree with that. Let's be honest. The Gator is not the fastest ship in the world, even off the start. And then if it doesn't have the ability to run away, it kind of just gets caught. And as much as it turns out a lot of damage, it has a lot of EHP. Once it's a sitting duck, it's kind of all over but the crying for it. Especially if you've got less than capable Logi, when you got frigate Logi instead of, let's say, well, I mean, you had the Simi ban, but still, if you don't have enough Logi to keep that thing alive while it's pinned down, it's not going to live.
Yep. At that point, though, if it's working in like a rushdown composition, that kind of thing, that high DPS numbers can really put out tons of damage and bring things down quickly. We saw it earlier. I think it was Nighthawks versus Helas, and both doing rushdown. That the Nighthawks didn't have the DPS output to compete.
Yeah, some cool stuff there with that match. I've got to say, I'm very glad that we don't have the points available for people to run double Loki, double Alligator, having witnessed that match again.
I mean, that would be the entire meta for every.
People would be banning out Gators all day long.
Yeah, I think we're seeing why the Loki is the 4th on the overall ban list, with 34 total bans at this point.
What's number 1?
The Curse with 59.
Hello,
That doesn't surprise me.
hello, stream. Sorry for the interruption. This is Brett Thomas running the stream in the background. I have just been informed that the next match on 17, the next match, this is Sussex vs Laserhawk, is not going ahead as Laserhawk have dropped out. Wormhub vs Module Clickers one of them has been disqualified. Neural Nexus vs New Eden Village, one of them has dropped out. So the next match is in 55 minutes. So after
Oh.
brief commentary, we're going to be going to a break screen. Thank you all for watching. You can continue watching on the main stream for the matches that will go ahead.
Well, alrighty then.
That's a hell of a bombshell to drop on us.
Unfortunately, I've just had that come through from the referees, which is out of our hands. Certain people have dropped out and certain people have been disqualified, so we are putting this stream on pause so people can pay more attention to the main stream while we take a break for the 55 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for
Alrighty
coming
then.
to watch. Do any of you have any feedback about that match? Is there anything you think could have went better?
Ban Loki if you got an alligator.
Okay.
If you're going to bring Gators, ban off Loki, I guess.
Well then, with that, we're going to wipe to a splash screen. Everybody come back in 50 minutes. It will be updated time on stream.
Awesome. Welcome everyone back. We're going to get the second stream going again. And next matchup is Hangry Noobs in the red team and Seriously Suspicious on blue. Who today we got a full round of 5 bands on each side for Hangry Noobs. We've got Curse, Gila, Loki, Barguest, and Celestis. Seriously Suspicious has banned Curse, Loki, Kizriel, Scimitar, and Carries. So we got both teams banning out Curse and both teams banning out the Loki. We're not going to have that long tracking disruption of the Curse, and the Loki is not going to be doing long webs with its tremendous DPS.
This is also true. I mean, you don't have a lot of you get rid of the webs off the Loki. I find the Bargus ban interesting, considering Orthrus is still on the table though, so that's still definitely in play here. The Kizriel ban could be interesting. Looks like we might see a play toward maybe we could see Florida Man again. I don't have the bans in front of me, so I'm just kind of going off memory of what you just said.
No worries. Blue might be going with Florida Man. They don't have access to the Gila. That has been banned off, but they do have Alligator available to them. And Hangry Noobs, they might be going Florida Man, though, with nothing, without that Alligator or Gila ban. And so they have that high damage drone DPS capacity that they can get in there.
I mean, we could also go with variation of what we saw from Tempest Calcif on the mainstream there not too long ago. Yeah, I mean, even though Curse is banned, you still got the option of Arbitrator with that hull, and the other one, which I what's it called? The other Force
Sentinel?
Recon. That no. You got Sentinel. Yeah, you do have that. No, the other one, the one that can light a
Pilgrim?
siren. That's the one. Thank you. Jeez.
Yep,
Sorry,
Pilgrim.
smoked too much weed on 420 today.
No worries. We do still have access to the Pilgrim on both sides. Hey, have we seen a Pilgrim this tournament yet? I'm not sure.
We saw it on opening weekend, but not so far today on day 3 here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and we got people coming down in the arena.
Okay, well, I did say Orthrus was on the table, and
Transition to arena. You go to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as we were saying, the Orthrus was on the table.
I see 3 of those, and oh, this is going to be a very interesting show. I do say so myself.
Absolutely. We got double Varger, double Scalpel, then Bifrost, double Jackdaw on one side, and triple Orthrus, his double Cyclone, not Fleet Issue, normal Cyclone, and Bazzy with a Skybreaker for him on the other. That's going to be very interesting for sure.
I mean, you got the long scrams of the Orthrus. They can project damage super far and super quickly. The only downside of the Orthrus, of course, is that you've got that reload that happens after 20 shots. But in that reload span, between the 35 seconds of reload, those things are churning out damage like nobody's business. I know, because my team fell victim to that in our second match of the tournament.
Absolutely, and those rapid lights have an incredibly good application, which is going to threaten the Scalpels and the Jackdaw as here very hard. If they get too close, those Jackdaws will and the Scalpels will get ripped apart by those Orthrus, which might be able to invalidate the incredible SIG tank capacity of those T2 Logi frigates.
I mean, you can also definitely target the Bifrost. That'll take your links off the table for Seriously Suspicious. And I mean, links are just such a valuable contributing factor to any Anger Games team.
Absolutely, and on the other side, they have T1 and Cyclones. That means that they're going to have less powerful bursts than the Bifrost will give them. But they have a lot less tank than their Fleet Issue counterparts. We'll see how they fly it here in a moment. And it looks like Red Team is immediately pulling away.
Yeah, if I was Red Team, I would want to stay as kitey as possible and stay away from that Varger DPS.
Absolutely.
I mean, Loose Mucus is already starting to feel a bit of the heat coming off of those Vargers. I mean, the Vargers can just project super duper far around the arena.
Yep, not near as
but
far as they can on Tranquility without that Bastion module, but they still do have ACs, though, and ACs can apply far out.
I mean, barrage ammo is probably one of my favorites to shoot on TQ, and on anytime I fly any Minotaur ship on TD.
Yep, it looks like I was going to say might be going for a micro jump drive play, but it looks like the Bazzi is taking heavy hits here.
Yeah, the Bazzi somehow is managed to lose their. Oh, okay, there we go. Definitely seeing some reps from that Bazzi. They're definitely splitting some damage between Loose Mucus and Ali Aras here on the Hangry Noobs team.
Yep, and on the blue side, we got the Jackdaw dipping hard. Those high application rapid lights are applying very well to the Jackdaw. We'll see if it's able to hold through the clip. I doubt it, though, and they got some split DPS going as well.
Yeah, they're going for Mark Conzen as well as Aussie 993. But I think it looks like the Scalpels are on the ball when it comes to repping their Jackdaw damage. And Ali Aris is really, really struggling right now. He's burning that repper super duper hard. If that Bazzi goes down, it's not going to look good for the Hangry News team at all.
Absolutely. It looks like they've swapped their DPS onto the Bifrost, and the Bifrost is dipping hard. They might be about to lose their boosts here. The Bifrost is getting very low.
I mean, that's what I did say at the beginning. If you go for the Bifrost, Scalpel's absolutely repping the pants off of this Bifrost. If that thing goes down, Scalpel reps won't be nearly as effective once the boosts cycle through.
Absolutely, and without those skirmish boosts, it's going to be all the more difficult for them to catch up to his enemy Kaidi comp. But Ali and the Bazzi is taking hits hard here.
Yeah, Ali's managing their ancillary shield booster. He's going to have to do some serious cap management pretty quick here.
Absolutely, he's dipping hard, and the Bifrost is caught. Oh, the Bazzi's in hole.
Bazzi's in hole. Bazzi's about to go down. Oh no.
Yep, there goes the Bazzi. Now this round is about to get much, much quicker because the red team is on a very tight time limit as they do not have the reps anymore to hold, even against those targets at range.
They basically, I mean, they were kiting for a bit here. Red team really just has to dive bomb and just like spray and pray at this point because they don't have reps.
Loose is dropping like a stone.
I mean, Loose has got local reps repping hard, but it's not going to be enough. He's down in Hall, and I think that's going to be well.
The XLA speed cycles are landing, but he's not holding it. He's gone.
Yeah.
Yep, it looks like Blue cannot. I don't think Blue can pull it back from here. They don't have the DPS to break quick enough.
No, they're definitely not going to be able to. The Scalpel reps are just too potent on that Bifrost. Even though they are splitting between Eric and the Bifrost and Aussie and the Jackdaw, they might lose the Bifrost here. It's down in armor.
Even if they lose the Bifrost and the Jackdaw, I don't think they can take out the Vargers.
No, there's no. You're not taking out 2 Vargers with 2 Orthruses, 2 Cyclones, and a Skybreaker. It's just not going to happen. Like the only play that the Hangry Noobs have here is just to get as many points as they can. But unfortunately, it's really going to be. I mean, crazy things could happen. The Vargers could boundary somehow.
Accidentally hit their MJD.
Yeah, they could do that, but I don't think it's going to happen. Dujek going into Hull here. One of the Cyclones is about to just melt. And with that, you've got basically, I'd say, a third of the damage from Hangry Noobs left is now off the table.
Yep, and it looks like Mark is getting hit hard in the Jackdaw, and is now in armor. That Jackdaw might actually go down. Yep,
there
the Jackdaw does.
So they get 1 Jackdaw.
They do not. They managed to get a kill at least.
Mm-hmm.
But at what cost? The cost is their entire composition here as the other Orthrus is going down.
I mean, both they're splitting damage on Arcosis and Bruxo. Arcosis taking the lion's share of the damage. Bruxo's getting a couple rep cycles off. Arcosis running his XLASB as hard as he can, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Absolutely. That Kaidi, they did an excellent job of flying the composition, but with that Bazzi going down, so what killed the Bazzi there?
I mean, I'm guessing it was just losing transversal, and it was a combination of that, and I bet you the Vargers just had barrage ammo and maybe some tracking computers running, and just managed to, get some real hard shots from range.
It'll just be the Jackdaw damage over time.
Yeah,
Seems
those
like a lot more than Jackdaw damage. Like that. It was. I mean, he was having to run his XLASB on that Logi Cruiser pretty hard. Like I saw the shield dipping really low. It seemed like a lot more than just Jackdaw missiles.
Yeah, but the Jackdaw damage was probably quite consistent over time with those light missiles that can apply all the way out there. No matter how far the Bazzi pulls, it's going to be nigh impossible to get outside the range of those Jackdaws. Longbow Jackdaws apply way out there.
Yeah, we're finally seeing a break from the rocket Jackdaw meta that we saw last weekend.
Absolutely, the light missiles showing why they are so strong and so prevalent. And it's not like the Orthruses like red team flew it poorly. They were switching targets. They almost got down the Bifrost on multiple occasions. They almost got down the Jackdaw. Without those boosts, I don't know how well the Scalpel could have held up. But the question is, how long was that Bazzi going to be able to stay on grid against those long range, high damage Jackdaws? Well, reasonable damage at least.
There we go. That's lots of GFs in local, as just Leanna left in the Skybreaker. We'll see if they can lock this one down in the next couple of minutes here.
It looks like it's going for the Edge of Glory.
5 seconds left. Let's see. Oh, there it is. So not quite 144 points for Seriously Suspicious, and Hangry Noobs managed a whole 9 points on that one.
Wiping to a mark.
An excellent match from both teams. No, I wouldn't say that either side had any serious misplays that I saw, at least.
No, the Arthurists did a really good job at the beginning, right? Like they used the strengths of their ships. They were switching targets, and I think they just, luck didn't really play out for them. They couldn't get all of their missiles to land on any specific target. Except for that one Jackdaw. They did get one Jackdaw down, but they couldn't make it happen on any of the small stuff, which they really needed to do at the beginning of it.
Yep, they need to take advantage of that high damage front-loaded damage from the rapid lights to try to bring down some of the support for those Vargers. Not let them get not let those scalpels to be able to contribute so much more tank to the smaller ships, especially. I wasn't paying too close of attention to the range control on those scalpels, but if they could have applied damage, they probably would have there.
Yeah, they were also they have a really kitey comp, but they couldn't just kind of starburst off in all sorts of directions, because then if they end up solo caught and they're outside of the Bazzi's range, even though the Bazzi's got a lot of range, if they're caught outside that Bazzi's range and they've only got to rely on their local rep, those Arthurises will not live long enough to even turn around and get back within Bazzi range.
Yeah, and we saw how quickly they'll drop when they don't have it.
Yeah, it was really tough for them, right? And the Skybreaker, it wasn't able to lock any small targets down specifically. So we saw, as I said, quite a few of those targets were kiting out the missile damage until I think the Skybreaker must have finally gotten a lock on that one Jackdaw, and then all the missiles were able to apply at full speed and full application.
Absolutely, and we saw how quickly the Jackdaw fell once it had that full application onto it.
There is a chance he didn't switch into defensive. I've done that before. I've accidentally swapped into prop mode instead of defensive mode from sharpshooter when I was getting shot at. And I didn't live very long in my Jackdaw.
For sure. Alrighty, let's maybe take a peek at the next few bands that we're looking at here. Up next, we got 7 guys, 1 sheet versus only need 3 comps. And the red team for 7 guys, we've got Curse, Orthrus, and Gila band. And only need 3 comps. We've got Blackbird, Carries, Scimitar bands. Absolutely. So the for that Curse, Orthrus, Gila, they don't. what I'm seeing is they don't want to be kited out, and they don't want to be controlled. They want to be able to do what they need to do wherever they want to do it.
I mean, you're saying the same thing on the other team, right? You got the bans for both the Blackbird and the carries, right? They don't want to see Damps. They don't want to see Jam. Because those are, let's face it, very frustrating to deal with.
Absolutely, and especially with that carries, able to switch around Damps to whatever's in front of the fleet. If they want to be kiting with the carries is an excellent tool to keep to do that. And that with that gone, there's going to be a lot more difficulty trying to use those Damps. The Mollis is still on the table, but Mollis has one less Damp than the carries can get.
It's also a lot squishier than the carries. You don't have T2 resists, and I believe it goes a little slow.
Yep, most likely. I'm pretty sure as well. And the Blackbird, in conjunction with it, that you don't want to be getting the jams. They might be going for something trig shaped to keep off those jams and be able to apply the spooling reps or spooling DPS. The Zarm has not been banned. The Leshak has not been banned. The Vedmak, Drek, no trig ships at all have been banned yet. So that might be a play they're going for.
I mean, we definitely have. There is still a play here for Florida Man.
Of course.
Or we could see just a general sort of drone comp like we saw from Calcifer on the mainstream.
Absolutely, they do have access to Oneros. They do have access to Guardian still. They those heavier metal little ships that have lots of armor are still on the table.
Yeah, you got Arbitrator as well if you want to run those with their tracking disruptor bonuses. Also drones. You got Ishtar still on the table, Stradio still on the table, Vexer's still on the table. There's lots of drone ships still on the table.
Absolutely, and with those drones, they have excellent damage output in a lot of situations. However, they are weak to getting starburst and then being forced to burn around the battlefield for long distances. It can really reduce their effectiveness and make them so that they can't get that constant DPS that gunships can, or the more high DPS of missile ships, especially.
What's up, Al?
Hey, folks. I've made it to the commentator bracket.
Awesome. Welcome.
I had a bit of a heartbreak there against Seriously Suspicious. The Vargar comp does quite well against Orthrus Kite. In particular, like the application of those Vargars even at range is wild.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to know actually, because we were just talking about this at the end of that match. There, it was the Vargars that were just like plinking you down because you were in the bad. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I was about 60 to ranging between 60 to 80 off of them, trying to move sort of around the outside of the arena. Presumably, the Vargars were transmatching me, and I was taking pretty good hits. Made it through all 9 charges of my Ansel, and once that was dead, it's like, well, going down.
Yep,
yeah, see, we thought it was the Longbow Jackdaws that were planking, yeah. But now we've got some ships on the that warped into the arena here, and oh boy,
Transferring
this looks
to arena.
gonna be fun to watch.
You're free to talk.
Absolutely. Alrighty, we mentioned that Mollis was still on the table, and Mollis has been brought. Hey, we got double Barg, Stork, Hyena, Mollis, then double Navi on one side.
And then on the other, we got double Psycho and Fleet Issue, Bazzy, Rapier, double Jackdaw, and Mollis from 7 Guys 1 Sheep.
We'll let you know in a second. I'm going to say red and blue because I can never remember the names anyways. But we're looking at, are those rapid heavy bar guests? I think so. Front loading a lot of DPS from those bar guests that'll be able to apply pretty dang well onto especially onto the Bazzy, onto the Rapier, onto the Cyclone fleets.
They are double heavy, yeah. Those things are going to absolutely apply. That's a lot of front loaded damage, but here's the thing. They've got no damage other than that, really. I mean, you can do a little damage from the Stork, but you're not going to get much out of anything else. I mean, surely the Mollis doesn't have any damage mods on it. So, like, when they're not doing damage, when they hit the clip, they're not going to be doing any damage whatsoever. So they really have to be smart with the application of the missiles for those, 20 load clips.
Yep, and it looks like the Bargast are going in. They're probably damped right now. They can't hit. They're going to have a lot of difficulty getting in, especially with that rapier webbing them. But the Bazzi is taking huge hits here.
Yeah, the Bazzi is absolutely getting slapped around. So Tin is absolutely running the crap out of his Ansil ASB. He's got 9 charges. He's gone through 3 already.
Bazzi's getting forced way off, trying his darkness to get out of range. But the Hyena's dropped like a rock. It's gone.
Absolutely, there's no way the Navitases could have caught that thing. It just turned into the Shadow Realm and died. Tin bleeding into armor here. He's really overheating all of his hardeners.
He's doing his darndest to get out.
This is going to be, it's really down to this.
Absolutely. Do they lose the Bazzi? But the Stork is going down home for blue.
Yeah, the Stork's going to go down, maybe. I mean, this is an armor comp that we see from only need 2 comp.
However, the Bazzi's still taking huge hits. It's in armor. Yeah. It's out of XLASB as the Bazzi goes down. That's going to be huge because now they can turn those guns onto the Jackdaws by the looks of it. And as Monkey takes a giant hit, he does not get the freaking Jackdaws gone.
That was fast. Now the question is, if you're the Bargast, you've only got a couple clips left. Do you go for, unless, well, I don't see any damage. So they must be on reload. Because I was going to say, were they going to go for one more Jackdaw, or are they going to go for the Rapier? My guess is they're definitely still webbed. No, they've webbed the Maulus down. They don't have webs on the Bargast right now.
Yet the Bargast are free to move, and the Maulus is free to die here in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Maulus goes down. Navitas looks like it's up next.
Yeah, they're definitely, Germs is 7 guys, 1 sheet are definitely taken down. That's the first Navitas down. They're probably going to go for the next one, or the Stork take off the Lynx off the table from 2 comp.
Absolutely, but for Red Team, the Maulus drops very quickly once that clip comes back up on reload. The Navitas, this is a freaking slug match. Holy cow, Jackdaw drop.
There's the Jackdaw. So now you got 3 ships from both teams. This is going to be, it's really just a straight up punching match now. You've got Lynx up for both sides. You've got control left for 7 guys, 1 sheet in the form of a Rapier, but looks like they're going after that first Cyclone fleet of Blue Morpheum.
Yeah, I think that this heavily favors Blue here because the Bargast have so much more range than the Cyclone fleets do. Even though they have the control of the Rapier, I don't think it'll be nearly enough to get them to win.
No, Blue is burning away at absolute warp speed.
And I think that's the best move for them because even though they have Red Team has the control here, or the Blue Team has the range they need, they still have the links they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Morpheum is bleeding into Hull. And if that Cyclone fleet goes down, it's not looking good for Red here as it just absolutely explodes. But Lou Man is now into armor. He probably doesn't have a local armor rep, or maybe he does. But he doesn't have any Logi on the field.
Yep, no Logi on the field, and they might be clipped right now. There's no DPS going out.
Mm-hmm. Having said that, they only need 2 comps attack bar. Yeah, there's nothing being projected, but their attack bar is quite a bit bigger than 7 guys, 1 sheet. That Cyclone fleet issue is still doing damage, chunking away at Lou Mahan, who's halfway into armor.
Oh, and the Rapier's just gone.
Yeah, there it is. They just see ya.
Boundary.
Oh, it boundary. That makes more sense.
GFs are going out in local. Grunt Kato is.
Yep, clips off reload. Goodbye, Cyclone fleet issue. Absolutely, and with plenty of tank left on that Bargast, the Cyclone fleet issue will be going down here in just mere moments, as that clip will be plenty of DPS left over to bring it down.
Transitioning back to a map.
Absolutely, a great match between them. With that Bazzi, he just could not pull the range it absolutely needed to get out of the DPS of those Barga. And those Bargas just slapping it down so quickly.
The range on a heavy missile Barghest is pretty large too. Like there's not much you can do as a Basilisk in that situation. Barghests are nearly as fast as you. They have quite a lot of range. There's not a lot of space to hide in the arena.
No, there really isn't. Especially, I mean, with the missile projection damage, like even when they fire their missiles, it's basically there in your face. It's almost instantaneous damage.
Yep, Bargas get that.
So there's really no running.
Yep, there's no outrunning those missiles on the Bargas. They get I think it's a full 100% speed bonus. They are fast missiles, and they will apply more or less everywhere in the ring. There's no way to pull out of that range. Absolutely, and it excellently played on by both sides. I'd say being able to take down those Navitas, make it into a DPS race, limit the amount of time they have on grid, and trying to get the DPS that you needed in there, but it turned out to not be enough. Those Barghests just output so much damage and have such excellent range projection. Absolutely. What do you think that there was any mispiloting there, or that could have been rectified, that could have brought it maybe more even, if not a victory on the other side?
Yeah, they could have brought like 200 MN afterburner that could have outrun the missiles. I think that's something they could have done.
500
I'm
MN.
kidding. There's no way you're outrunning those missiles. Like, what do you like? It's almost impossible. Like, yeah, maybe a 500 MN Bazzi with like small reps. I don't know.
Dual take Bazzi up next. Yeah,
maybe some local armor reps. There was nothing. Like, really, realistically, what they needed to do was they needed to absolutely Team Red there just really needed to grab one of those Bargus and just punch it in the face repeatedly until it died, because it only had Navitas Logi that was keeping it up. I don't think the full application of what they had there would have been able to, like, the Navitases couldn't have outrep that. So you could have slowly chunked down one of the Bargus and taken off literally half the other team's DPS, but other than that, like, really not a lot you can do, especially as a Bazzi. It's not the fastest thing in the world.
Yeah, maybe if they had crashed in right away and tried to just bring down one of those Barghest as quick as possible. We saw how 2 Cyclone Fleet Dishes were able to get it into half armor over the course of 30 seconds. 3 might have been able to bring it down before her critical damage had been maintained. But the thing is that they also had that Hyena on their side that they could have webbed off those Cyclone Fleets and kept a lot of the DPS away from the Barghests.
Well, and we did see that Hyena explode very quickly. Like that thing just got one shot right off the bat. But other than that, I mean, they really, as I said, once that was off, they, instead of going for small stuff, they should have just gone for the Bargus.
Yeah, I just don't know how realistic it would be to bring down those Barghests at that point. With the Navis on grid and with like a Cyclone gone, they were missing out on a lot of the DPS that they would have needed to pop it quickly. If they
Like,
left up those Navis, then it's going to be very difficult.
it makes you wonder if, like, let's say hypothetically the Cyclones did bum rush one of the Bargs, get it locked down, get it scrammed. Do the Bargs, do a hard swap onto the Cyclone, or do they keep shooting the Lodge? Right.
For
Also,
sure.
something's on fire outside my apartment right now. I don't know what's going on. I smell smoke.
Yeah, maybe go check on that. It's important to not.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna see if there's a fire somewhere.
Awesome. So we got people warping into the local. Let's take a look at the next the next match's bands here. Up next we have Odin. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yep, on Odin's Call versus Wokewater, or on Odin's Call side, we have the Curse, Paladin, Gila, and Deacon band.
And then the Wokewater, we've got Sleipnir, Kizriel, Curse, and Typhoon. So double banning the Curse, of course, great ship, tons of control options. Sleipnir, Kizriel is banning out some of the most popular rush options. What about that Paladin ban there?
Paladin ban is a very interesting one. The Paladin has excellent range projection with those lasers, especially when it loads Scorch. It can apply very far out and cover most of the arena, similar to how those Bargus did in the last match. But as well as that, they can fit 4 utility high slots. That's a lot of nuding power that they can bring to the field, which can cause a lot of havoc on comps that are relying on that capacitor to run local reps, to run in their guns and everything. Those dudes can do a lot, especially against Frigate Logi, but they've also banned off the Deacon and as well, that they don't want to be fighting those higher end compositions that make use of battleships and lean on the more cheap Frigate Logi.
Yeah,
Maybe.
especially. Yeah, we did see Wokewater fly a Paladin comp in the previous week too, so could be a little bit looking at that as well.
Absolutely, and Wokewater with that Typhoon ban as well. Typhoons are very effective with those rapid heavy missiles. They can occupy a similar spot to the Bargus, though not as long range, not as high DPS, not as many points though either. They don't want to be facing off against that one of those rapid heavy setups. That looks like you were saying, the Sleipnir and Kiz are very popular ships to bring to who try to rush down a composition, and they might be going for something kitey. They might want to be bringing something that they don't want to have too much control on the grid with that curse ban, but everyone bans curse because it's a good ban.
Yeah, if you don't ban it, you pretty much got to bring it.
Pretty much how it goes. Yep, and alligators are still 100% on the table with that. Only a Gila ban coming out. Odin's Call might be going for something that looks like Florida Man.
Sorry, I missed the bans. Sit rep, there's nothing on fire in my apartment, but something is on fire outside somewhere.
Okay. Well, it's a good start for sure.
Yeah, it's nice not knowing, or it's nice knowing that my place isn't going to burn down anytime soon. So.
Yeah, it would make it very hard to cast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So we're looking at Odin's Call banning out Curse, Paladin, Gila, and Deacon. And Wokewater is banning out Sleipnir, Kizriel, Curse, and Typhoon. So both sides banning out the Curse.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on banning Slep, Kizriel, and Typhoon?
I mean, we've seen quite a few of those Kizriel rush comps so far this weekend. I mean, I know our team used one to not very good effect. Actually, that was the triple Orthrus Bargus comp that we got blown up in, or against, I should say. But the triple Kizriel rush comp can be very effective. The Kiz is just a great ship. It can project super far. You can throw artillery on it, and then it can hit anything in the arena with its fall off bonus. But it can also hit a lot of stuff at range if you throw autocans and 425s on. Just with that crazy, I remember running one on TQ, and if you put a tracking computer and 425s in barrage, it'd fall off as like 68 or 69 kilometers or something stupid, and it's doing stupid amounts of damage at that range.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it looks like we got some warps down to the arena, so we'll wipe on over to there.
Oh, this looks interesting.
Absolutely, very interesting. We got triple Orthrus, Simi, Cyclone Fleet, Kiri's Hyena on red team.
And then for the Blues, we've got an Armageddon, Oneros, triple Stratios, Magus, and Kruger.
Absolutely. We got what looks like a full-on drone comp with that Geddon, and especially triple strat. They're going heavy into drones and probably into newts as well. They don't want to let anything get close to them here.
I mean, the strats are super tanky for what they are. With that, what's it called? The resist bonus on them. They got super powerful drones. You can put lasers on them if you really want, but that's usually not advised. It's usually advised to fit a full rack of newts on them, and then they've got a lot of new power.
Absolutely. I'm looking at some ships, and it doesn't look like I see any guns at all for blue. And they're going up against this high kitey Simi Orthrus Cyclone Fleet issue fleet that that's going to be able to apply DPS wherever they go, most likely. Especially with that hyena on the other side, they're going to be able to hold them away. I don't know if they'll be able to get in close and apply their newts at all. Guess we will be seeing soon.
It's going to be interesting to see if these Orthruses and Cyclone Fleet, if they can right off the bat use their clips and take that Oneros off the field. If they can, it's going to be quite a slugfest with.
They're going to be negating drone travel time by dropping all sentries right
Oh
on
my
the
god, it's
middle.
all sentries.
It's all sentries as the Oneros is getting slapped hard by those rapid lights, but it's holding pretty dang well still. Yep,
It is.
and
You
that
can definitely see
Armageddon.
they've definitely dropped some armor maintenance bots on that Oneros just to help keep it alive, and then of course it's also running probably an ancillary armor repper. So it'll be interesting if they can't clip this Oneros. The Orthruses might have to make a tactical decision to switch to something softer.
Yep, and it looks like that Armageddon sitting right in the middle of that composition, applying newts all over the place. No, again, if that Simi gets neuted out too hard, it's going to be really reduced on the amount of reps it can output.
I mean, let's put it this way. If that Scimitar gets its MWD shut off, and then all the Stratios' hard switch their sentries over to the Simi, it's dead, but
But the Oneros is dead.
That thing just exploded. It absolutely got caught. They must have been able to get those missiles to apply. And now Odin's is applying to Wokewater's Magus. They're trying to take the links off the field, which they do. The Magus going down super hard.
Yep,
these Orthruses from Odin's are just managing to out-kite these newts. And now the crew is getting chunks of damage taken out of it. And with that, I mean, you don't have webs. All you've got now is just a lot of newts. But you're not going to be able to catch anything to apply them. Yeah.
You just got sentries and very much hopes and dreams. They're on a very short time limit before they run out of EHP here. But it looks like the Orthrus will be, if they're not already on reload, will be going into reload very soon. And that means that it's going to give a little bit of a reprieve as far as the DPS goes.
They're still splitting damage. You've got Two's taking some damage, Akov's taking some damage, and then of course the Armageddon and Crimson's also taking damage. Looks like what's left of the four Wokewater ships are trying to gang rush on this Simi, but it's not going to be enough.
Absolutely not enough. As 2 and the Stratios starts to bleed whole, it's going down very soon here, and there it goes. And that's going to be a big chunk of DPS gone as well. That it might be too late for them here. They don't have the DPS to break the Scimitar. They don't have the DPS to break anything the Scimitar's repping.
No, they don't. It's definitely a case of Wokewater boo-hoo instead of boo-hooligans, as KCLP and Akov both in about 3/4 armor and starting to bleed down.
Yep, it may be a little bit of a misplay on splitting the DPS here, but I don't think it'll change the outcome of the match at all. As there's just no reps against them that they can pick apart his composition however they want, and they have enough reps on grid that they can't be broken here.
I mean, you've also got a bit of a misplay on the sentry drones they dropped. They dropped Wardens and Bouncers, which are the worst tracking sentry drones, and you drop them against a super kitey comp.
Yep, they were expecting that comp to stay way out at range and that they could herd them around, keep them away from those sentries, and let those sentries apply their DPS very effectively. But that's just not how it was flown. They immediately got crashed into, and they just could not apply the DPS they need to.
I mean, realistically, what do you do in that case? If they crash you, you just immediately, if you're the Stratios, you abandon your drones right away, and then throw some heavies or some mediums out or some application. But they didn't do any of that.
Absolutely, and it's too late now. If they had maybe abandoned drones and drop a different set, I don't know if there's enough room in the Stratios. How many wings can a Stratios carry?
Yeah, it's got a pretty big drone bay. Like it's not massive, but you can definitely fit I think a flight of sentries and I think a flight of medium.
I am seeing a bunch of Republic Fleet Berserkers on this grid as well, so there were some drones that dropped, but it does appear to perhaps be too little too late, or
not fast enough. They once the Kura webs died, Berserkers, you're not going to catch a Stratios, an Orthrus or a Simi. The only thing they could have caught was maybe the Cyclone.
Absolutely, and it excellently flown by the red team here. Once they saw those high range, low tracking sentries drop, that they dove for them and went in. They got they got in close, kept that DPS from applying to them. I don't know if the sentry drones was the move here.
I mean, if you're gonna drop the sentry, I'd say go with curators or not bouncers and wardens.
Absolutely. Uh, when they saw that those high moving, those very fast ships, the Orthruses, the Scimitar, or that maybe they should have been aware that the bouncers and stuff, they're not applying. They're going to have a very difficult time at the very least applying to those faster ships.
Yeah, it would have been fine if they had stayed at range, but again, like they dove in and they were going too fast, and it just those drones are like the worst. I mean, the longest range sentries, but also the worst track.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see this fight going very differently if that Oneirus manages to stay alive against those rapid lights. But the rapid lights apply so well, especially to cruisers, especially to ships that can't be moving quickly. Yeah, with I think there was a hyena on grid. I can't remember anymore, but
There was, and it didn't die actually. Both the hyena and the Curies were still alive at the end.
yeah, then with that hyena on grid, it was going to be very hard for them to be able to close the range enough to get newts on. It was going to be very hard for them for that Oneirus to survive. It's going that match might have been decided before the fleets even landed.
So, hello stream. This is Brett. I'm going to be speaking to all of you as well as the commentators. The next match is going to be in 23 minutes, which is the final match that's going to be on this stream. It's the Redemption 9 match, which is New Eden Villains Valley versus Seriously Suspicious. So, for everybody at home, I'm going to take us to a break screen, give ourselves, all the commentators here, a 5-10 minute break, and we're going to be back for a 10-minute talk just before that next match comes on. So, wave goodbye. I'll see you in about 10-15 minutes.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Welcome everyone back to the secondary stream. We're going to be raring up here in a moment and to see the showdown between New Eden Village and Seriously Suspicious. So let's talk about the bands while we wait for people to get into the ring.
We have Orthrus, Kisriel, Curse, and Scimitar on one side, which is 3 fast ships on the Curse. The other side is Paladin, Curse, Carries, and Alligator. Those are some more targeted bands for what they plan on flying.
Absolutely. Both sides banning out the curse. Nobody likes curses, and maybe we'll just brand the curse outright and nobody has to waste their bans on it or something. I don't know. But on the other side, for her Seriously Suspicious in the blue, we've got Carrie's ban. And in particular, I think that's an interesting one because Carrie's is going to be the premier damping ship for her that is being removed from the grid. So they want to be able to pull range and not have to be forced to move in close.
The Gila is not banned here. I think that maybe Seriously Suspicious might be looking to take one of the Gila Cyclone or Gila like other kind of battle cruiser comps that we have seen with like a Cyclone fleet or something.
Yep, we've been seeing a lot of Cyclone fleets today, especially. Yeah, on the other end, we also have a Paladin ban, so they don't want to be facing off against that high top end DPS with a lot of utility newts available to them.
Yeah. And the Orthrus is banned here, so we're not likely to see much in the way of like Great Kite.
Absolutely.
Oh, here we go. Well, I didn't hear a Loki ban.
There was no Loki ban. Yeah. Ew. Yep. On the other end, those are all high speed ships from the red team getting banned out. Orthrus, Kisru, and Scimitar. They don't want to be facing off against high speed shield ships that'll will be able to kite them out, maybe, or be able to even. The other reason that you might want to ban that off is so that you can be able to keep away those ships as well, that they can't close quickly.
We've had a warp to sun here.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was like, hang on, where are you going? I was wondering why there was only six blue people on grid here.
You can now
Awesome.
talk about what's on grid.
We'll go on down to the arena here. We've got double Cyclone Fleet issue, double Loki, Jackdaw, then double Burst using the T1 Logi.
These are going to be able to grab whatever they want very quickly. However, what they are grabbing is a Vindicator.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against Vindy, Oniros Blackbird, Celestis Ponti Fesser. Very heavy metal fleet here. The Vindicator especially. He is going to be a lot of DPS and those extremely strong webs. Looking at it now, that looks like blasters to me on the Vindy. That's going to be a ton of DPS.
I really just think that the Blackbird isn't going to be enough to save this Vindicator.
I don't think so. Is this the first Vindy we've seen in this tournament so far?
That I can remember, yes.
Vindy going right up in front. We'll see if the Vindy's able to hold. Vindicators are very tanky and have a lot of DPS out, but we'll see what they do here.
Vindy's actually cutting away.
Yep, Vindy's cutting away. The Fesser's burning in and taking heavy hits. It's going down here very.
It went in too quickly. They needed to wait for the full engage of the Cyclones and Lokis getting along quickly. The Confessor isn't dying though.
No, the Confessor's actually staying away.
What the Vindy really needs. Yeah, what the Vindy really needs is to get a proper tackle on one ship while not having every other ship simultaneously on him.
Yep, and it looks like the Vindy's closing in here. It looks like overall on the blue side we're chipping away into the burst here, while blue has swapped onto the Celestis, trying to bleed that down, but it doesn't look like it's taking too big a hits here.
No, they're splitting deeps. They're still going on Pastio and the Confessor as well as the Celestis, and the Vindicators now pretty close.
Yep, and that burst is dropping. Natelli, he's bleeding down quite slowly for a T1 and Logi Frigate. It's holding remarkably well, but
Yeah, the Confessor has a Loki, and the Vindicator would be able to get onto it. They also can't have the reverse where the Vindy gets one thing and everything else goes on to the Blackbird and the Oneros and the Celestis without it.
yep, it looks like DPS is being split again between the Celestis and Blackbird, trying to bring some of that control down. It looks like on the other side, the Loki is being swapped onto who the burst is still bleeding a little bit, but not enough to bring it down here.
Yeah, no, they're still splitting DPS. They're on Chipmunk and the Vindicator now. They're kind of splitting between the Blackbird and the Vindy. The Vindy's got XX Jan locked down on the Loki.
Yep, absolutely locking down that Loki, and it looks like the most of the DPS on that Loki is coming straight from the Vindy, just ripping into it as the burst is dropping here. Low shields right now.
Yeah, they got a lot of drones on that burst.
Yep, and the burst is going to drop here.
There it is.
There it is, and that's going to be 50% of the Logi. The other burst is going to drop very quickly at that rate.
I'm still amazed that that Confessor just burned straight into the middle of everyone and then just sat in defensive mode and managed to face tank that entire blue team.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
ever
really
seem to
impressive.
happen to my Confessors.
No, I know. My Confessors always just absolutely eat a massive turd and then explode.
Absolutely, and it looks like the Loki's pulling back up here now as far as shield goes, which is very interesting. It looks like it might have been able to slip away from the Vindy.
It has, but at the same time, Tindy in the burst is down in low shields already and is starting to see the end of his time, not in a pod on this battlefield here.
Yep, it looks like
Although
the Loki of Jan has closed in and caught at the Celestis. It might also have some. It looks like they're going in here trying to get the DPS they can, and before they bleed out ships here with no Logi on grid, it'll take them won't take them long to drop ships here.
This is a repeat fight in a way from one much earlier in the tournament where one Confessor and one Loki spent the entire match scramming and webbing each other and fighting. And
yeah,
that
meanwhile,
was...
the
Go on.
Vindy's got Eric in the Cyclone Fleet issue. Absolutely starting to just chunk into him a whole time.
Yep, but at the same time, the Blackbird has been caught and is bleeding down fairly quickly. It is not being held up by that Oneros. It will go down here if they keep on it. But it looks like that Cyclone Fleet issue, like was mentioned, is really chunking right now out of their ship.
I mean, he's in armor. He's in low armor now. That Blackbird's amazingly still in armor. It hasn't bled into structure yet. So
yeah, but they're splitting their damage. Like they're happy to have one Blackbird die this slowly. It took it 4 minutes to die, and the Vindicator trade the Blackbird for a quarter of the DPS on the opposing side. I don't think one Cyclone and two Lokis can kill a Vindicator under reps at this point. Like, they could shoot at anything and they might be able to kill any one thing, but not without paying for it with their lives.
Yep, and it looks like they're going to be switching on to the Pontifex, try to bring some of those reps down by taking out the Lynx. But it looks like the Ponty is holding without too much issue.
yeah, they really needed to somehow get that Oneros locked down if they wanted any hope. Because, I mean, that Oneros pilot is doing a phenomenal job.
Absolutely, and it looks like the Vindy is caught up with the Loki of Jan once again, going to try to bring down Jan with the Vindy.
Jan is like a jar of pickles you need to open. Pasio has loosened them, and now Chipmunk is there to actually open that jar entirely and reveal the pickled pod inside.
I mean, yeah, Jan's doing what, 23 meters a second here? Oh, sped up to no, he's down. He's not moving. He's doing 23 meters a second. That's not very fast.
Yep, those 90% bonused webs on the Vindicator are just stopping it dead in its tracks. It ain't going anywhere right now, and it looks like it's not able to apply enough DPS to bring down anything else on the opposing side. The Oneros is too far, the Celeste is too far, and they can't break the Pontifex. They can't break the Confessor.
They haven't been able. They've gone for both Ponties here, and that Oneros has just, as I said, been an absolute all-star this entire match. Jan's about to hit armor here, and I think once we see Jan go down, it's gonna be all over. But the crying here for Suspiciously Serious.
They're incredibly close on points. That there was a universe where Seriously Suspicious managed to take down, say, like the Oneros, hypothetically, to get into overtime, but there's 30 seconds left, and they don't have time to kill anything.
Yeah, the Loki of Jan's down. Everyone's GFing in local. It was close at one point for sure. I'm still amazed that Confessor just face rolled into those guys and said, "Hi, I'm here," and then managed to survive getting punched in the face so many times.
Absolutely. I'm guessing that with I don't know how it survived, honestly. Defense mode's very strong, I suppose.
Hello, stream. This is Brett,
Hams.
and we've just watched the last match of this stream. We are going to go to a quick teaser so the commentators can talk about that match for 5-10 minutes, and then that is the last match we're going to have on here. We're going to pass it back to the main stream. So give us 2 minutes to talk about this, and then we'll pass you to an outro.
Absolutely. An excellent fight on both sides. Hey, it's good performance. It's that Confessor just refusing to perish really brought together. It allowed the Vindicator to keep away from being swamped by all of those ships at the same time. It let the really dominate with that Fessor.
I watched that. I watched that Confessor because at the start the Vindicator started kiting away, and the Confessor just goes beeline straight for everything, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? And somehow it didn't die. I was just like, what the heck is going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, and thank you all for watching. We'll be heading over to the primary stream and watching the rest of it from there. I believe this is the last for the secondary stream for the rest of the tournament as well. So.